Good evening. I would like to welcome you to the June 27th, 2023 meeting of the City Plan Commission. Before we begin, I'll outline the procedure that we'll follow for our public hearing. As each agenda item is called, the applicant or his or her representatives and persons for the request will be allowed to speak. Then persons against the request will be allowed to speak. If there is opposition to the request, the applicant will be allowed to make a short rebuttal. All persons wishing to speak need to come to the microphone at the front of the room. Please state your name and address for the record. All statements made should be relevant to the agenda item and limited to 3 minutes. If there are several persons in favor of or opposed to a request, we encourage you to allow 1 or 2 persons to act as spokesperson for the group. If you like, a spokesperson for a group may request that the group stand and be recognized. While public discourse is very important to the Commission, we have to maintain order in the meeting so that all persons may be heard and city business may be conducted. If so directed by me, the Sergeant at Arms shall remove from this meeting any persons while addressing the Commission or while attending the Commission meeting making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, who becomes boisterous, or making unauthorized remarks from the audience, stomping of feet, whistles, yells, or similar demonstrations. The Commission members have reviewed each of these items in a previous work session. The recommendations we make tonight to the City Council will be based on the work session and the information provided by staff, as well as any additional information presented tonight. After completing the hearing on each item, the Commission will consider action on the item. The action taken tonight on these items will be in the form of a recommendation to the City Council. The City Council will also conduct a hearing on these items, which will be held on Tuesday, August 1st, 2023, in the Bosque Theater of the Waco Convention Center, 100 Washington Avenue. The record and recommendation of the Plan Commission and new testimony will be considered by the Council at that time. The first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of our May 23rd work session and business meetings and the May 23rd, 2023 work session and business meetings. Are there any changes or additions? Seeing none, they stand approved as written. Our first items on the agenda are zoning applications. We will be taking case Z-23-25 first. What is the recommendation of city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Robert Feet for property at 10825 Tree Lake Drive to rezone from R1B to Plan Unit Development, or PUD. And we mailed out 59 notices on this request, had 6 comments returned, 1 in favor and 5 opposed. And Planning Services has received a request from the applicant to withdraw the request at this time, and we do recommend approval of the withdrawal request.
We will go ahead and open a public hearing. Is the applicant or their representative here to speak tonight? Is anyone else here to speak on this item? Recognizing the applicant has requested to withdraw it from the agenda. So you're welcome to come up and speak if you would like to, but we won't be voting in favor of it. Or okay. We'll close the public hearing. We have a request by the applicant to withdraw the rezoning, and recommendation by city staff. Will entertain a motion.
I recommend we approve the request to withdraw.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Browse, second by Mr. Vickers. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Allen? Aye. Rouse?
Yes.
Briscoe? Yes. Cole?
Yes.
Embry? Yes. Fajardo?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Jefferson? Yes. Lane?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
In the case of Z-23-21, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is a request from Juan Felipe Cabrera on behalf of Lakewood Capital Partners, LLC, doing business as Connie's Car Wash for property at 5750 Bagby Avenue for a special permit for an automobile car washing establishment in a C2 district. We mailed out 8 notices for this request and had 0 comments returned. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to special provisions and conditions and based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the purposes and intent of Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco. 2, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics than any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of a special exception. And 4, that available community facilities and services, including the road system providing access to the proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use. These findings are required for the granting of a special permit as per Section 28-122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Yes. No. Just state your name and address and any comments from the commission.
Good evening, Council. My name is Juan Felipe Cabrera. I am a managing partner with Lakewood Capital Partners, and I'm glad to present this project in front of you. We are operating already a car wash in Kaufman, building another one in Mesquite, and permitting one in Bald Springs. We're really excited about this opportunity and about growing here in Waco.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Cabrera?
Yeah, just to double check, I saw in the diligence package that you included that within your 1 mile radius, it doesn't show any car washes. Are you aware of the other 2 that have come through the planning commission that are within a mile of your location?
Yeah, no, we know that there's other car washes close to the area, but the demographics, the traffic, are coupled to absorb the car wash that we are putting in back.
Just to be clear, in addition to the ones that you have in your diligence, you're aware of the other 2 on New Road?
Yes.
Okay. And there's one additional one permitted right across the highway in the Central Texas Marketplace facility. Just real quick, I think I'll speak for myself at least. I know there's concern given our general water conditions about water usage. I know your style of car wash, I believe, uses a water reclamation system to reduce wastewater. Can you speak to that as well as just simply how the car washes do or do not affect kind of gross water usage in a community?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So we recycle the water. We have reclaimed tanks. We are going to reuse a big portion of the water. And the car wash use the best technology we are using between, our car washes have between Solis and McNeil technology. And it's really efficient. It's more efficient than washing your cars by yourself. And again, as I mentioned, we understand that concerns about the water usage, and that's the reason why the car wash have the reclaimed tanks.
Any additional questions? Any additional questions for the applicant?
Do you operate on a subscription model?
Yes.
And do you have any numbers on how, so someone who has a subscription, how many times they use a subscription per month? Do you have any numbers on that?
So depends. There's customers that use the subscription every week. There's customers that use only twice a month. The advantage of the subscription is that's the most economical way to wash your car. If you use it two times, you're almost doing better than not having the subscription. So mostly of our subscription members, they wash their car once a week.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to this item? We'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval from city staff, and we'll entertain discussion and then a motion.
Move to approve this request in accordance with the city findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lane to approve, second by Mr. Vickers. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Aye.
Rouse.
Yes.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Smith. Vickers.
Yes. In the case of Z-23-22, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Kaylee George and Ryan Kirkwood for property at 920 Camp Drive for a special permit for a short-term rental type 1 in an R1B district. We mailed out 56 notices on this request and had 3 comments returned in opposition to the special permit. Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the findings required for the granting of a special permit as per section 28-122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance that were previously read on record.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing on this item. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Just come on down, state your name and address and any comments to the commission.
Hi, my name is Kaylee. This is Ryan, and we own 920 Camp Drive. This is our primary residence. And we have a garage studio in the back that we converted back last summer according to all the city regulations. We went through 27 inspections and finally got it passed. And so we would like to use it as a short-term rental now.
Any questions for the applicants? Is there anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Close our public hearing. We'll entertain discussion or a motion.
Recommend approval based on staff findings.
Motion by Mr. Smith. Second by Ms. Briscoe. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Aye.
Rouse.
Yes.
Yes.
Cole. Embry.
Yes.
Fajardo.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Jefferson.
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Vickers.
Yes. In the case of Z-23-26, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Harris Arnhart on behalf of WTX Development Company LLC and City of Waco for properties at 1811, 1813, 1817, 1819, 1821, and 1829 Meridian Avenue to rezone from C2 to R2. We mailed out 36 notices on this request and had 0 comments returned.
We'll
Sorry.
open our, oh, okay.
Fingers got stuck on the page, sorry about that. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from C2 to R2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in conformance with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. 2, the property meets all the area and width requirements for the R2 zoning district. 3, the existing public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the R2 zoning district. And 4, R2 zoning brings existing residential uses into conformance with the zoning ordinance.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Is anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? We will close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval from city staff, and we will entertain a motion.
Move that we approve based on staff findings.
Second. Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Vickers. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Aye.
Brous?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Fajardo?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Jefferson? Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes. In the case of Z-23-27, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Gavin Lane on behalf of 3501 WWD LLC on a request to rezone from O2 to O3 for a portion of property at 3501 West Waco Drive. Planning Services mailed out 41 notices, we had 0 returned. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the rezoning from O2 to O3 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan of the Imagine Waco, a plan for greater downtown. 2, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the O3 zoning district. 3, the properties meet all the area and width requirements for the O3 zoning district. 4, there is O3 zoning near the subject property. And 5, the proposed O3 zoning is low-intensity, mixed-use zoning district that is compatible with the surrounding area and the development pattern along West Waco Drive.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Is anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Is anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval from city staff, and we'll entertain a motion.
I recommend approval based on staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Browse, second by Ms. Jefferson. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Aye.
Browse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Fajardo?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Jefferson? Smith?
Yes.
Vickers?
Wanted to talk trash to you, Gavin. I'm surprised you didn't come up to the mic so we could speak. That's really disappointing, buddy.
I really expected Nate to vote no. He thought about it.
He had a soft yes.
In the case of Z-23-28, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing and a request from Renee Montalongo for a request to rezone from R3C to O3 for property located at 1816 Morrow Avenue. Planning Services mailed out 30 notices, and we had 1 returned in opposition. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from R3C to O3 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan and the Imagine Waco plan for greater downtown. 2, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the O3 zoning district. 3, the properties meet all the area and width requirements for the O3 zoning district. 4, there is O3 zoning district near the subject property. 5, the proposed O3 zoning is low-intensity, mixed-use zoning district that is compatible with the surrounding area and the development pattern along West Waco Drive.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? You can come on down, state your name and address and any comments to the commission.
Well, good evening, guys. Well, my name is Renee Montalongo, and our address is 1860 Morrow Avenue. And we want to change the zoning for the reason that we own a catering business, but it's more on the side. We rent a kitchen down Waco Drive. It's Mr. Greeks. I don't know if you guys have heard of that restaurant. We rent their kitchen every day from the morning. You know, we have a couple hours, and we want to establish our own place and have our own kitchen where we can keep our stuff together, and from there we can go on. And other than that, we just don't live far away from it, you know, it's a close place near our home. And if you guys will allow this opportunity, that'd be awesome, that'd be great for us. And it's, all we're doing is just making food and just selling it out like a lunch truck for all the workers that work in, say, like plants, like Coca-Cola, or any other construction worker where there's building homes and stuff like that.
Any questions for Mr. Montalongo? Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? You coming down, state your name and address and your comments to the commission.
My name is Philip Bridgewater. My address is 1815 Morrow Avenue, almost directly across the street from this property. What was the other item you were saying?
Address.
Okay. I've lived at this property for almost 25 years, and I've been in North Waco that time, same place. I've watched our neighborhood be used in many different ways and not contributed to the well-being of the neighborhood. In that 25 years, I've seen it turn around and grow and change. I'm not in opposition to the nature of this business, I'm in opposition to the location. There are already 3 03 lots on this, and one of them is vacant and could potentially be a property for this business. Residence has diminished from 7 homes to 5 over those 25 years. So to add another 03 and to diminish a residence is, in my opinion, to diminish the well-being of this block. In my neighborhood, the first fixer-upper home has never been occupied by an owner or a renter, but it's a short-term rental. On Sanger Avenue, 2 lots are being used for a large church parking, not residential. You keep chipping away, one property at a time, different places, but these are all close to my neighborhood. You change the nature of the neighborhood. It needs people presence. Again, not opposed to the business. But what it doesn't provide is long-term and permanent presence. You're transient. You're there X number of hours a day, you go home. You're not invested in that. You don't live there. So my request is that you not change it, that we not set in motion 1 less residence on our block, 1 less residence in our neighborhood. Every one of you in this commission is aware of the housing shortage we are facing in this nation, ownership and rental. I have been in the housing ministry for 31 years, from emergency shelter to low-income home ownership. We need to be doing what we can to provide home ownership and affordable rentals, not diminish it. That is why I'm in opposition today. I think there's plenty of 03 properties available for this business to seek out and to move into and not diminish a residential lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Bridgewater?
Mr. Bridgewater, if I understand correctly, the lot is currently vacant, correct?
It is vacant. The house was torn down. It was probably illegal as a triplex, and the city tore it down. So it was a residence when we moved here. Can't say that it was a legal triplex, but it was. Eventually, because of drugs and prostitution and numerous complaints by myself and nuisance laws, it was vacated. The house directly to my left was burned down by arson. So our neighborhood has radically changed, and I don't want to see it have less ownership or rental presence.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Montalongo, if you'd like to make a rebuttal, you're welcome to, but you do not need to. Okay. All right, we will close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval from city staff, and we'll entertain discussion or a motion.
One question for staff, just for clarification. What type of residential usage is allowed in 03?
03 has an allowance for one single-family home per, actually, it allows 1 or 2 single-family dwellings on a lot, depending on all of the site development standards that have to be met. It allows 1 duplex per lot, or it allows townhomes with a maximum of density of 13 units per acre.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the city's recommendation.
Second.
A motion for approval by Mr. Vickers, second by Mr. Lane. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Aye.
Browse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Fajardo?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Jefferson?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
In the case of Z-23-30, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Jack Horton and Barrett Kirk on behalf of MREP Investments LLC for property at 2324 South University Parks Drive for a land use designation change from suburban residential and open space to institutional and to rezone from M2 to O2 on property described as follows. A 58.69 acre tract of land out of Lot 1 and Lot 2, Block 1, Taylor Estate Edition in the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, according to the plat thereof recorded under McLennan County Clerk's document 2022-000675 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, and 2, a 1.708 acre tract of land located in the Thomas J. Chambers Abstract 7 in the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, and being a portion of that land described as Tract 3 in the deeds to Helen Marie Taylor, recorded in McLennan County Clerk's document 2014-019394, 2014-019395, and 2014-026456 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, and described as Tract 1 in a deed to Helen Marie Taylor, recorded in volume 1552, page 247 of the deed records of McLennan County, Texas, and being in the undeveloped plat of J.W. Taylor's addition to the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, according to the plat thereof recorded in volume 90, page 31 of the DRMCT, known as a portion of 2324 South University Parks Drive, and also a land use designation change from suburban residential and open space to mixed-use flex, and rezoning from M2 to C2 on property described as a 12.354 acre tract of land out of Lot 1 and Lot 2, Block 1, Taylor Estate Edition in the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, according to the plat thereof recorded under McLennan County Clerk's document 2022-000675 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, known as another portion of 2324 South University Parks Drive. Planning Services, and I'm going to divide this out into a couple of sections for you. Planning Services recommends approval of the land use designation change from suburban residential and open space to institutional for the O2 zoning request based on the following findings. The public infrastructure is adequate to provide for zoning districts allowed in the proposed mixed-use flex land use designation, and 2, the property is located within the greater Baylor University area. In relation to that, Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from M2 to O2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan as revised and the purpose of the Brazos River Corridor District. 2, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the O2 zoning district. 3, the property is located near the intersection of 2 major streets, LaSalle Avenue and South University Parks Drive. And 4, the property meets all the area and width requirements for the O2 zoning district. And then the second part of this is that Planning Services recommends approval of the land use designation change from suburban residential and open space to mixed-use flex for the C2, the proposed C2 zoning based on the following findings. 1, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for zoning districts allowed in the proposed mixed-use flex land use designation. 2, the property is located in at the intersection of 2 major streets, which are LaSalle Avenue and South University Parks Drive. And 3, the proposed change is consistent with the Brazos River Corridor District and complements the LaSalle Avenue Strategic Plan. Planning Services also recommends approval of the rezoning from M2 to C2 based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan as revised. 2, the property meets all the size and width requirements for C2 zoning. 3, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the C2 zoning district. 4, the property is located at the intersection of 2 major streets, LaSalle Avenue and University Parks Drive. And 5, the proposed rezoning is consistent with the Brazos River Corridor District and complements the LaSalle Avenue Strategic Plan. We did mail out 12 notices on this request and have gotten 0 comments returned.
Thank you. We will open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Just state your name and address and any comments for the commission.
Good evening, Jack Horton, MREP Investments, 8554 K Freeway, Suite 100, Houston, Texas 77024. Just here to answer any questions you guys might have. Also have Donovan Cannon with Walker Partners, our civil engineer here.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you, Mr. Orton. Anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Okay, we'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval from city staff. That will be for all of the stated land use and zoning changes. We'll entertain a motion if anyone wants to divide anything out of that, of course. Just make note of that, I suppose, but we'll entertain a motion.
Move that we recommend approval of the land use designation and rezone based on staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Vickers for approval. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Allen? Aye. Browse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
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 Harris?
Yes.
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 In the case of Z-23-32, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from the city of Waco for a rezone from C3 to R2 for property located at 1915 Reuter Avenue. Planning Services mailed out 37 notices, had one return opposed. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from C3 to R2 based on the following findings. One, the proposed zoning is in conformance with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. Two, the property meets all area and width requirements for the R2 zoning district. Three, the existing public infrastructure is adequate to provide for the uses allowed in the R2 zoning district. And four, the R2 zoning district, there is R2 zoning adjacent to the property.
All right. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Is anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Is anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? We'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval by city staff, and we will entertain a motion.
Move that we recommend approval based on staff finding.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Ms. Briscoe. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Aye.
Browse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Fajardo?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Jefferson?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
In the case of Z-23-33, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Annie Briscoe, Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc., on behalf of the city of Waco for approval of phase 3 of a final PUD plan for a city of Waco fire station within a planned unit development known as the Callan Village PUD for property located at 10905 Panther Way. Planning Services mailed out 22 notices, had 2 returned with no comments. Planning Services recommends approval of the final PUD based on the following findings and conditions. 1, the final PUD plan is consistent with the approved concept PUD plan, conditions of the approved concept PUD plan, and the requirements of the PUD ordinance. 2, the circulation plan, public facilities and service plan, preliminary architectural plan, and site development and landscaping plan included in the final PUD plan are adequate. 2 conditions. 1, boundary landscaping shall be installed along the Ritchie Road frontage in accordance with section 218C of the City of Waco zoning ordinance. 2, boundary landscaping shall be installed along the Panther Way frontage that exceeds the requirements of section 28-218C of the City of Waco zoning ordinance as follows. A, an all-season landscape screen 4 feet in width, densely planted with a combination of deciduous and evergreen trees and shrubs which have an initial height of 3 feet. Trees shall attain a height of 6 feet within 36 months after installation. Shrubs will attain a maximum height of 4 feet within 36 months after installation. B, landscape screening shall be installed in a way that does not create a site distance issue for driveways.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? State your name and address and any comments for the commission.
Good evening, my name is Annie Briscoe. I'm here on behalf of the city of Waco. My address is 2800 South Texas Avenue in Bryan, Texas, 77802. I'm here to answer any of the questions you may have about the final PUD submittal for the Waco Fire Station 15 or any questions you have in addition to that.
Any questions for the applicant? All right. Well, thank you. Anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone to speak in opposition to this item? Okay, we'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval by city staff, and we will entertain a motion.
I move to approve in accordance with the city staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Lane, second by Mr. Browse. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Allen?
Aye.
Browse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Fajardo?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Jefferson? Lane?
Yes.
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
In the case of ABD-22-10, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Andrew Bourgeois on behalf of Wagboo Properties LLC for abandonment of the right-of-way of Jackson Avenue between 10th and 11th Street, described as 0.11 acres of land in the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, being a part of Jackson Avenue as shown in Block B of the J.W. Manns addition to the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, as per plat recorded in volume 28, page 243 of the deed records of McLennan County, Texas. We mailed out 5 notices on this request and had 0 returned, 0 comments.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight?
I'm going to
Oh.
read our recommendation. Sorry, I was
Oh, I'm
flipping
sorry.
around. You're
Hey,
fine.
B, what's your recommendation?
No
I was
worries.
flipping.
Planning Services recommends approval of the abandonment request based on the following findings and subject to the following condition. Findings are public use of the right-of-way is not required for the proper flow of traffic or for emergency vehicle access to the area. 2, utility access for surrounding properties is not adversely impacted by the abandonment of the right-of-way. And 3, the abandonment provides better development opportunity for the properties oriented toward Webster Avenue and South 11th Street. And the condition is that the abandoned right-of-way must be platted with the adjoining lots, the front out to Webster Avenue or South 11th Street.
Thank you. We will reopen the public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Is there anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone to speak in opposition to this item? We will close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval by city staff, and we'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve per city staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Vickers for approval, second by Ms. Jefferson. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Excuse me. Browse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
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 Jefferson?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Vickers?
Yes.
Case of ABD-23-6, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Mitchell and Associates on behalf of Billy Wade for abandonment of a 20-foot wide general utility easement to the city of Waco described as 1.49 acres of land in the BBB and C Railroad Survey, abstract number 160 in McLennan County, Texas, and being out of that 1.61 acres within city of Waco, Texas, 20-foot wide general utility easement described in volume 1673, page 246 of McLennan County, Texas deed records, and across that called 116.64 acres described in a deed to Waco Construction LLC and instrument 2013-021952 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas. We mailed out 13 notices on this request and had 0 comments returned. Planning Services recommends approval of the abandonment request for the easement based on the following finding. The utility access for surrounding properties is not adversely impacted by the abandonment of this easement.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Anyone else in favor of or opposed to this request? We'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval, and we will entertain a motion.
And approval. Second.
We have a motion of approval by Mr. Embry, second by Mr. Smith. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Aye. Rouse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes. Yes.
Fajardo?
Yes.
Harris? Jefferson?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
That concludes our agenda, and we will adjourn this meeting.